So one thing I want you to think about, and that is we deleted the original default color palette. We created our own, but this button is still yellow. When I bring in a new button, let's go here and I select new button, it's also yellow, but under my colors, I don't have this color. So where is this coming from? Now we talk about color semantics. Big word, very scary, but don't let it scare you. Click on any of these buttons. In fact, let me go ahead and, no, I'll keep that one. Let me click on the first button and then select content. And there is an option that you're going to find whenever you work with color that is called style. And next to style is set primary. From the drop down, you will see we have all of these options. Primary, let's select secondary and the color changes. Then we go to light and you can cycle through them. It makes sense. Muted is gray. Success is green. Warning should be, okay, they put it on orange, and then there's danger is the red. These are almost like presets for colors, and they are specific words. That's why we use this big word, semantics. Also a word that we never used in page building, and in the last few years, people often talk about semantics. Again, I'll say this a few times, don't let it bowl you over. Semantics is just the name, and the name here is primary, secondary, light. And then what we want to do is we want to tell Bricks, whenever I use primary, I want you to use a specific color. In this case, the default is yellow. We're going to change it. If I use secondary, and secondary is just like my second option. I want the color to be different. I don't want this color. I want one of my colors from the color palette, and so forth. Let's keep it there on primary. And let's duplicate this button a few times and change them all, and you can see then how it's going to look. So this one we'll put on secondary. This one is going to be light. This one is going to be dark. Muted, I'm going to skip because I don't believe we will even go there. Even these others, we won't go there. Let's put it there anyway so we can see how this is going to work. Now, we go again to our style manager and we'll just go here to styles. This is our color palette. We worked with that last time, but now we make those changes under the theme. Select theme styles. And finally, we go to this option colors and look here. Primary, secondary, all of those terminology that we just saw previously, they appear here. Again, semantics, it's just the name of what we want to call this. And we have a few others like border color here as well. On the right, this is again the thing I don't like is all this space. I have to go all the way from left to right. We have the color palette, which is there, and we're going to set it. We can do a color picker if we want to do it manually. And then these variables and dynamic data are things that come into play in later modules. Now, how do I set this up? This is up to you. You have to test and trial it a little bit, and then you come up with what do you want your primary color to be. And the best way to set this up is usually by referencing the button. The primary color, what color is my button going to be most of the time, and then you set it. It's not always going to be that. You're going to switch it out to secondary. Sometimes you'll override it manually, but you try and save as much work here as possible. And that's the way you go. You put the color that you'll be using most of the time for your buttons as primary, the one that you'll be using sometimes as secondary. If you have the concept of light and dark, then you put a light version and your dark version and so on. This just helps you to speed up again your workflow. On a simple page like what we will be doing, you're going to see I barely have buttons here, so this is an unnecessary step. But look here. So we basically only have to change the primary color. The rest, we're not going to need it, but I'm going to show you anyway how to do it. I have a little mock-up here with my primary, secondary, and a little bit of a description. Worked with AI to help me out with this, and that's what I'm going to do. So primary, I'm going to set to chili. Secondary, I'll set to turmeric. The rest are really not important, but we're going to do them anyway. So let's do that. Primary color, chili. This is this one. Secondary color, turmeric. For light, that will be paper. For dark, it will be our darkest, usually black, in this case ink. Muted, I'm going to skip. Border, it's always good to go for the dark one, so ink here. Info color, we'll make it accent, so teal. Same for the success, we'll put that on teal as well. Then the warning, we'll put that on turmeric, and then And then for danger, of course, we'll put it on chile, baby. And that's it. And this is how we are going to set up those semantic values, or rather our primary and secondary. Remember to save here at the top, and then you can close it and look at how everything has updated on the page. One more thing to note. Let's go back to the styles and go to the colors. With this open, here in the settings at the top, you have this toggle canvas preview. Toggle it on, and the page that you are working on will appear here. This is very useful if you want to see how the changes you make will affect on the page. For example, let's say the primary color, I want to change that to teal. Then you can see it updates on the page. I often forget about this preview function. It's really useful, specifically when you are working with features like clamp, which we'll do in later modules when you get to your typography settings, but also for the colors here. Now we've set up, and I'll close this preview, we've set up the colors under our theme. And as before, just to be safe, go ahead and save. Escape to exit. Click on the first button and then go to Style, Primary, select Secondary, and everything is now set to the color palettes as we've instructed it within the theme. Let's put it back on Primary. Enough of this part for this moment. We're going to return in a bit again to how we set up the colors for the text here. We'll do that on an element basis within the themes, but do that later. Next, we talk about our fonts for the site.